Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
So I know that most folks are not like living their lives perpetually online. So not everyone's going to be aware of the saga I went through this afternoon. In fact, Amy, even you are not aware.
No, I'm not.
Megan's aware because I did tag her on social media. So I kind of like live storied a situation I got myself involved in today. So my sister and I have decided that we're going to do like 10,000 steps a day, kind of like forever. We don't want to break the chain. Like we want to see if we can get to can we get to 1,000 days? Like I think today I'm at 90, which is great.
Nice. That's amazing.
That's truly 10,000 steps is a lot.
It's a lot.
So, yeah, like trying to fit it into your workday, it's a lot. So one of the things, and I realized when I first started doing it, like I was like, I'm not watching drama. Like I'm just walking. I'm not watching dramas.
Right.
And so, yeah, I invested in a walking pad, and I have two now. I have one on my campus apartment, and I have one at my office, and that helps me get steps during the day. And so at lunch, I'll often like watch a drama and walk on the pad for an hour. And I know, Amy, you do this a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So the walking pad doesn't have sides or anything. Like it does not. Yes. And so that's a little dangerous for me, especially because I'm doing it in Birkenstocks a lot.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I'm not barefoot yet. But anyway, I've come up with a system where when I get to like a slightly higher speed, I'll put a chair next to it just as like an emergency stabilizer in case in the event of an emergency, I can
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As one should.
And today I was not being demure or mindful. I don't know if you've seen like all the memes about like very demure, very mindful. I was not being very demure or mindful. And I put my clicker that like controls the walking pad on the back of the chair. So I'm watching a drama and I kind of like without thinking, kind of like put my hand out. I don't even know what I was doing. And I horked the clicker across the room. So then I was on the treadmill, no way to stop it. And I was like, okay, I've got two choices. Like I can walk here forever, like until someone comes and rescues me. So I was going at like a relatively brisk clip. Or I was like, I can like throw myself off of it and like hope for the best. God. And then I looked at my time and I'm like, well, I still have like 6,000 steps to do. And so I was like, I'm just going to keep, that's a problem for me. And like
for future Leah.
Yeah. Future Leah will deal with that. Like,
problem for future Leah.
Yeah. Current Leah is not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
I put on Run Jin. So Jin from BTS is out of the military and he started back up with, there's a show called Run BTS, which is their variety show. Since he's the only one back, the show's called Run Jin. And so I was watching so I was like, I'm just going to watch his episode and live my life. And so I started Instagramming it though, because I was like, I need to tell someone, this is funny. So I decided to like post it on the internet because that's what we do in these times. And then I finish Run Jin. I get my 10,000 steps. And I was like, look, I mean, I was like, I could call someone from my office and be like, can you come turn it off for me? But I was like, I don't really want to do that. Like, that's embarrassing. I'm going to risk just like jumping off of it. And so I kind of like came up with a system and I saw that like my my dining room table was like a couple, like 2 feet away. And so I was like, if I do kind of like a lunge and like catch myself on the table, then I'm not going to like, because it's like, your forward motion. I didn't
the momentum. Objects in motion stay in motion.
Yeah. So I kind of did this like gazelle, like we grabbed the table and kind of like healer parkoured off the table and landed flat footed, kind of like a cat. And I was like, I feel as if I just was like an action. So that's why I tagged Megan. So I was like, I feel like I was just like, I am ready for my action movie. Like I'm ready to be whatever, background character you need me to be. I'm a stunt double. I am ready now for like, put me in for like.
I'm just glad you're okay.
Me too.
That's because I do the same exact thing. So mine's like right next to my window. And so I just put the clicker on the windowsill.
Uh-huh.
Cause that's, I mean, you lose your, I mean, it's got a band. You're supposed to wear it around your wrist so you don't lose it. But like, I don't
see,
do
I don't
that.
have a band. Yours is fancier than
Oh,
mine.
really? Yeah, mine has a band.
There could have been a band in mine, and I just chewed through it like a badger and ripped it out of the box. I probably had a band.
You probably did.
You probably threw it out.
Yeah,
I
probably
If
threw it
there's
out.
if there's a little loop on your remote, like if there's a
Yeah.
little like hole, there was a band.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I don't know why I didn't think like I've been thinking about purchasing a walking pad for like my office or whatever, and I guess it didn't occur to me how it works. Like I never thought, oh, there's a remote. Like I don't know.
The treadmill has like the sides, right? So you could like
Yeah.
push the sides.
Well, and the treadmill treadmill controls are up in front of you.
Right. Well, we actually have two treadmills. We're trying.
I have a treadmill and a walking pad. I mean,
yeah,
like,
but
it is what it is.
we have the assault runner thing, which is all self-powered. It's
Sounds
like the
like
one
what Leah
that's,
did today.
It's like the one that's like it's like concave, convex, concave. I don't know. It's like
where you have
warped.
to make it go.
Yeah, and it's like warped, like how my hand is. I know
Yeah,
the
that's
listeners can't see.
that's
So like an up, like an, it's like a U, a slight U shape.
A bend. So you like make it go. So there's no like you stop and the thing stops.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's still like a way I could still easily hurt myself, but yeah, there's bars and stuff like that. But I do want a walking pad. I feel inspired.
There are some walking pads where you can get like a detachable bar.
Mm-hmm.
Mine doesn't.
I would
have
like that.
Yeah.
I can go.
It just felt like, I'm living dangerously, apparently. Bad footwear, bad choices. I also then...
you leapt off in Birkenstocks.
Yeah, that's
Good God,
nuts.
woman.
I did. And then I did almost die today, and then I'll end it. I did actually almost die today. Like, no, I didn't. I mean, I could have died.
Not treadmill related?
Not treadmill related. Treadmill, I could have hurt myself. And in this, I could have hurt myself, but significantly worse.
Okay.
So I have also talked about how I do tend to dress like...
Kim Shin?
Yeah, I was going to say like pansexual art therapist.
You totally do. You dress like an art teacher. You absolutely do. And I say that with love.
I would say not an art teacher. That's cool. I'm an art therapist. So kind of a little bit more like business casual. Like I'm not as funky.
Yeah. No, I believe it. Yeah, because you're like in earth tones.
Yeah, you've seen me in real life.
Her favorite
you're
color
like
is brown. Like we know this.
Yeah, you're like earth tones or like black.
Yeah, I present. I don't color code when I say who I know who I am.
I know.
I like to wear natural fibers.
Yeah.
Very demure. Like so I have these like silk pants I'm wearing. Eileen Fisher, of course. And they're very wide legged. And my husband today, like I ran home and dropped off my middle child. And he was like, can you take out, there were like 2 big bowls of like whatever food. He's like, can you take this out and feed the chickens? Before like I ran up here to podcast. So I'm like, yeah. So I have 2 big bowls full of like, food scraps from like dinner last night, whatever. And these pants are big and I don't know what I did. Again, the Birkenstocks, but I somehow like stepped into my pant at the top.
Oh, I've done that before.
I've done that. It is dangerous.
And I just like, by the grace of Puck Jimin, I did not, my Lord and Savior, I did not fall down the stairs.
Oh
like
my God.
I like this.
Yeah, on stairs. That's when it happens. Like I've done it on stairs.
So scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
I was like,
because you see your life flash and you're like, that could have been it.
That could have been my pant.
Yeah, it could have been my tailbone. That's what I always think every time. I could have cracked.
I was going for like, to me, I was like, I'm on the edge of these like redwood stairs that go down like 12 to 14 and then end on a concrete slab.
Oh my God, dude. You could have cracked your skull.
And I was like, this could have been it. I mean, I was about to hurt something and just somehow course corrected at like the last second. And then I told my husband, I came back in, I didn't even feed the chickens. I was like, I almost died. And then he was like, boo, 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 boo. And I was like, did you hear me? And he's like, what? I was like,
look, we don't want to tarnish Eileen Fisher's good name, but be careful if you're wearing Eileen Fisher on stairs. That's really what it's about.
Especially if they're wide-legged and very like, flowy. Like they were very...
And you've got your Birks flipping and flopping all over the place.
Yeah, she does.
Yes. We know.
And like, those are Birks that have seen stuff. Like she clearly...
You got to see these Birks.
These Birks definitely get that 10,000 steps a day. Leah just took a drink of water and she's going to fit it. I also say that with love. Like my shoes.
No, I wear my shit hard.
I mean, you got the ultimate value out of these Birkenstocks. You're like, I paid, I don't know how much are Birkenstocks now. Like, the thing is, you probably bought these 10 years ago when they were like $30.
I'm sure.
I tend to get like a pair every 14 to 15 months. And I pretty much wear them exclusively. Like, I really will wear them like as my only shoes.
Holy crap. My feet, my feet cannot fit into Birkenstock.
Why can we never get away from feet
I don't know
on this podcast?
But
Sarah, if you're listening, I didn't take us here. Okay.
No, we're talking about shoes.
I know, but look, we're going to feet.
My whole life.
I won't take it there.
When I was like younger, my whole life, all I wanted was Birkenstocks because that's what all the cool girls had. And my parents were just like, no, we're not spending that much money on sandals. Like, they're like, no, we'll get you knockoffs at Payless, but you're not getting.
I had Payless knockoffs.
Yeah. So I think I might have. But anyway, so when I finally had like big girl money, like my own money, Birkenstocks don't fit me because my feet are abnormally small, but the kid sizes are too narrow. So if they fit my length, I'm sorry, I cannot believe we're talking about this, but I'm devastated. So I'm like bitter about Birkenstocks because I want them so bad, and they just cannot fit, and they look stupid. Like, trust me, you would if you saw me.
Like they don't make like a kid's wide.
No, if they did, Birkenstock, if you're listening,
can't you buy like kid sizes?
No, they're too narrow. Narrow, like
you're like a little hobbit. That's why.
Yeah. Yes, my feet are abnormally small. Like it looks like I would like
all of you. All of you, really.
All of you is abnormally small.
I don't know.
Not abnormally, you're
you're
pocket sized. We like it.
You're fun sized.
Oh God, I know. Okay.
So anyway, to share.
Oh, well, no, I'll just say this real quick because it leads back to the pod, but and as soon as I start talking, Amy's probably going to know where this is going. Famously, my husband and I have had a battle over our calendar system. I like a system I like to write everything out and see the month at a glance in a whiteboard on our fridge. And I realize that is not the best system because then you can't like put in things that are happening months down the road. But that's just how I operate. He wants me to use the Google Calendar. It's been seriously a point of contention in our marriage. These are the things we fight about. So I recently made the kids a bunch of appointments. And I was very proud of myself. And I went down to Neil and I was like, Neil, I made a bunch of appointments and I put them on the Google Calendar. And he was like, good job, honey. I'm very proud of you. And then a day later, Amy messages us on Slack because we have an Afternoona Delight Google Calendar, which clearly I never look at. And she goes, why is your daughter's physical appointment on the Afternoona calendar? I put all my kids' appointments on the Afternoona calendar, which my husband can't see, like a dummy. So I was so proud of myself. And so I went to him and I was like, this is why the Google Calendar doesn't work. Because I can't, like, I'm like a boomer. Like I physically cannot use the Google Calendar properly. It was just so funny because Amy's like, what? Like, because she was like,
because I went to go put something in the Google Calendar and I'm like, who's Hazel?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, that is Megan's personal calendar.
Yeah.
And she's putting on our. So I use a Google Calendar for everything. And I use it in my job too. So I have like two different, like emails with two different Google calendars, but like I share one with my ex-husband and we put like kid stuff on there. I have my personal one. I have the Afternoona Delight one. I have my work one. And I put things in months down the road, but then I also do at work. At work, I do have a whiteboard monthly calendar at work too. So I can see like my month at a glance. Yeah. But I don't do that at home because my kids would not look at it. Nobody would look at it.
Well, I'm working on it.
So actually, there's a little drop down menu where you can choose the calendar.
Now I know that, and I did know that. I don't know what I was thinking. So our next
big, what you're up to?
Yeah. So our next big purchase actually is a digital wall calendar.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're going to hang it on the wall. So
that's a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing. Now I want one. Like, I can see my Google Amazon. Calendar on the wall.
Yes. And you can like add things to it. Yes. So that was our big purchase recently. So once Neil sets it up, hopefully that will fix our issues. Because I clearly
I did not know this existed. You're gonna have to send me a link.
I'll send you the link of what we got. It's not cheap, but it's like this is important. Like we need a system
where everybody can see what's going on. Totally. Yeah. How does this tie into the pod? Just because of our calendar?
Just because, that was
because you said the words Afternoona delight.
Yeah, basically. And I just thought it was so funny when you were like, "Who's Hazel?" Oh my God, it's Megan's personal appointments on our calendar. I'm like, oh God.
I was just like, what am I missing for the pod? Are we interviewing somebody? Nope, that's Megan's daughter.
No, we interviewing someone. No, just me.
That's okay. Well, yeah, I mean, not an ideal segue, but what's on the calendar for today is a deep dive, the first deep dive that the three of us have done in a while, I think. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the three of us, for sure.
The three of us. Yeah. So it's been a while. So, and I'm really excited not only that we're doing My Sweet Mobster, but that like it just ended a couple weeks ago and we're already getting to it. So that's
we're like on the ball.
We're being timely, folks.
I know.
So, yeah.
I'm proud of us.
I know. So My Sweet Mobster is a 2024 rom-com based on a webtoon titled A Woman Who Plays. It aired simultaneously on JTBC and Viki from June 12th to August 1st. And because I've been digging how Drama Beans blurbs dramas, here's how they pitch the show. A reformed mobster who is a novice in love falls head over heels for a woman who is a children's content creator. She's bubbly cute and hangs all her childhood happiness on memories of a neighborhood boy who was kind to her. Will she ever run into him again? It's a cute little blurb, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think so. That's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's short. So I decided to expand on it a little bit for our listeners who might not have watched it yet, because we are going non-spoiler to start like we always do. So
you got some tropes. I would say you get nice tropes in that.
Yeah, it gives you the tropes. Like it gives you the get like tropes.
Opposites attract. You get some like, childhood stuff that K-dramas like. So I like that.
And even, I mean, like it's the he falls first. Like,
oh yeah.
I love that. So yeah, so I like the blurb, but I'm going to expand a little bit in case, you would like some more thirsty deer meat on your plate. I still don't quite understand how that company came to be, but that's okay.
Right, same.
So Seo Ji-hwan, played by Tae Goo, is a reformed mobster who earns his penance for the bad things he's done by offering the same chance to other fellow mobsters who, after doing their time, want to walk the straight and narrow. He does this by hiring them to work at his meat company, Thirsty Deer. While he and his little found family keep everything on the up and up, they still wear all black suits and style their hair in the stereotypical mobster pompadour. Enter Go Eun-ha, played by Han Sun-hwa, a children's content creator who has been on the hunt for a man named Hyun-woo, who was her childhood friend many years ago. She's down on her luck at work, not enough views, and in life also she keeps having run-ins with a scary, gravelly voiced mobster named Seo Ji-hwan. And through a series of unfortunate, or we might call them fortunate, events, she ends up living with Seo Ji-hwan in the house he shares with his 5 Thirsty Deer brothers, where hijinks, romance, and adventure ensue.
It kind of sounds like you're saying Thirsty Deer brothers. You know what I mean? Like they're thirsty and they're deer.
They're Thirsty Deer as in DEER. As in the animal that screams and it's okay to not be okay.
Right. And turns into a zombie. And which one is it?
Which is it zombie? Happiness or is
it's Happiness where he turned? I think it's Happiness, yeah.
Or Train to Busan. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's one of them. Yeah. So anyway, before this drama like really blew up on social media and it felt like everyone except me was watching it, Megan, you like dove right in pretty quickly. Like what drew you to this drama?
So I've mentioned before, Tae Goo, I watched him in the movie One Night in Paradise, and he had a very, very not happy ending. It was terrible and traumatic, but I loved him. He is impossible to like look away from. Like there's just something about him, his voice, his acting. I was fascinated by him, and it was like he started that movie and I hadn't seen him at all. So then I find out he's in this like rom-com, like in the trailers, he's like dressed like a mobster wearing like princess earrings. I'm like, what? Like, because in One Night in Paradise, he was like this like violent villain. Like it was just very, well, he wasn't the villain, but he was like a violent, same thing, like a mobster. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just was like, how was he going to play this role? I was really fascinated. And again, you say reformed mobster, and I'm automatically in. And all our Patreon members were like, this is so good. I mean, to me, this drama really seemed to gain steam based on word of mouth, because I saw little to no promo for this until after it was already like available, or at least the first few episodes. You know what I mean? I didn't see any build up. People weren't like anticipating it, or at least that I saw. So that was it too. Word of mouth and just that poster with Tae Goo.
And then Leah, you were next to jump on board. Was it because of the Patreon, social media, Megan's urging, or did you just see Tae Goo and think, I need this?
So I think it was like a combo of all three. When Megan kind of shared like, oh, I'm like jumping in on this one show, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like we'll get into the reasons like I was not interested, but like I was kind of like, sure, whatever. And not to like when people start to talk up a drama, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to watch it. Not because again, I'm too cool for like anything that's trending. It's just that if I'm like in the mood for something else, I don't get FOMO that bad. Unless there's like, you're going to give me some like wild premise that I'm like, like if you're like, there's a hedgehog and jumper cables and like BDSM sex, I will be like, I am going to put everything down and make my way there. But beyond that, I'll be like, like, let me see where I'm at. But I feel like I kind of had like, I had like a gap in my like I was like free. I was available for a drama. And I kind of felt like Megan had talked it up. The Patreon talked it up. And then like his face card talked it up. Like face card, and I was just like, let's just see how it goes. I started the first episode. I was like, respectfully, I'm not sure. I might be out. Like within 10 minutes, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me.
Right.
I'm very glad I hung in, because we'll talk about that too. But yeah. I very much enjoyed it. The beginning to me does not sell it, and often the shows don't sell it to me at the beginning.
Yeah.
But by the end I was so glad, because I almost skipped this.
I really thought Amy would like it. Like I actually thought Leah either would be completely out or she would really like it. Like I really did think there was a chance, but I didn't think she'd be middle of the road. Like I thought she'd either, meaning I'm not saying
you said that to me. You said you're either gonna like this or not like it, and I can't tell which one.
Yeah. But I thought right away it was an Amy drama. But I do remember saying to you guys, like, stick it out for the silly, because there is some silly.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I mean, some people might just totally love the silly, but if you don't, you kind of gotta stick it out.
And I'm glad that I did, because I like initially, like when you're like, I'm watching this drama called My Sweet Mobster, I'm like, that's a Megan show, like you enjoy, you know, because I don't gravitate towards mobster stuff like at all. I've never read a mobster romance.
Oh man, I
didn't watch Vincenzo. Like no shade to anybody who liked Vincenzo. That's not my bag.
Yeah.
But you said, Amy, I really think you're gonna like this, and I trusted you, and I really, really did.
I was like, if Amy doesn't like this, then I don't know her. Like, that was like I just
no, you know me.
I think Amy's easier to peg.
Yeah,
Amy's easier to peg, and I was like, oh man, this is such an Amy drama. She's gonna love it.
Yeah, I did. We'll get there.
Yeah,
because like I said earlier, we will talk about the drama for a little bit now, without spoilers. And then when we're ready to hit spoiler town, we'll give you a heads up in case you want to take a break and binge My Sweet Mobster on Viki. 16 episodes. And they're all about like an hour. Like they're not too much over an hour when they do go over. So they're not, super long episodes, and they're very fast paced. So
yeah,
easy, quick watch. Okay. So, well, I already told you like my thought about this, and Megan, you kind of already answered it too. Like in general, when you hear a drama is about a mobster, like, is that an automatic like watch for you? For me, it's absolutely not. So I have to be led to the good mobster stuff.
For me, it's absolutely yes. I will always take a second glance if you tell me it's about a mobster. I don't know why. Okay. I don't know. I haven't examined that part of me. Just let me have it.
You know what? The heart wants what the heart wants.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The fact it was called My Sweet Mobster was like, that was a pile I had to crawl over. But what's funny is Sopranos was like my first real big binge watch series. Like I love Sopranos, like with a passion. And I yes, and The Godfather.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to out myself here. Never watched Sopranos. Never seen any of The Godfathers, and I have zero desire.
I didn't watch Sopranos, but I've seen Godfather.
So Sopranos I watched during the era of Netflix CDs where you would like watch.
Yes, you'd send them in, you'd get them for like a couple weeks and then send them back.
So we would get them and bring them to a friend's house and we'll like buddy watch them and then like finish it and be like, okay, we got to mail it back and get the next one.
Oh,
and we thought we were like living. Like, oh my gosh, look at how we're like getting through these shows. Friends, if you are like a young millennial on down, the world you lived in, you live in an like did you ever have to use an atlas to?
There was a pre-streaming world.
Yeah,
and we lived it.
Figure out where to go, or like I remember when I could print off MapQuest directions and was like, I'm living in the future.
And like how like I'm looking at my passenger seat to read the MapQuest directions to make sure I know where I'm going because that's safe.
I was a reporter. I was a 22-year-old female reporter during the era of MapQuest. I would be driving into the middle of nowhere. It was like, if something happens to me, no one knows where I am. I don't know how to get back. Like if there's a road closed, I'm not making it home because I only have the MapQuest directions. Wild times.
No, you can't like reroute.
No.
What? There's no rerouting.
Wild times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I look, I'm going to say, if I may for a moment, you need to watch The Godfather. It is very good. and you can make the face, but look, the challenge
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't excite me. I'm not making a face like I think it's dumb. It's just not for me.
But it will be. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know what to say. Like, you will like it because there's no way, like, you're not going to not like it. It's got everything that you would like in a movie. Like, how about this? And you can all assign me something too. What if we make a plan to say, I don't know what my thing is that I haven't done. Megan has to watch
Twilight.
Star Wars 1. Star Wars 1, A New Hope.
Okay.
You need to watch The Godfather. Okay. And I don't know, give me something. Give me a homework. And we have to see by like October 1st.
Blade. You have to watch Blade. Give her like a Marvel movie.
Or like like what's The Rock?
Oh, no, a Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh my God, The Rock.
Con Air. No, she has to watch Con Air.
Air, okay.
Has to watch Con Air.
Wait, okay, here's my question. Here's my question. I am telling you both to watch objectively good movies. Like,
we are. We're making you watch Con Air.
These are good movies. Like The Godfather is a like masterpiece. It's not Con Air. Like, okay, sure. But you know what? Sure. I will do that. I mean, Star Wars is a classic, but I will watch Con Air.
I do love that our assignments are like highbrow and we're like Con Air.
Star Wars is highbrow. It's just like objectively good.
I know. All right, we'll do that. That could be like a fun, like off K-drama pod.
Okay, so by October 1st, everyone, look, if I'm watching Con Air, you sure as shit are watching.
October 1st?
It's like 7 weeks away.
It's just a movie.
You know what? Connor will watch it with me. My son will watch it with me.
Of course.
Okay.
And I don't even feel remotely bad because you're going to thank me.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
No. Have you seen The Godfather, Megan?
Yeah. A long time ago.
She's going to thank me.
Yeah. It's like family intrigue.
And
it's more that.
I will just, you know what? I'm going to judge you if you don't like it.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Um Tae Goo has, to put it mildly, a unique voice. Describe it in 3 words.
So I'm going to say every romance hero, but I'm going to explain just with a longer sentence. But basically, any romance book you have read that's like the hero has a deep, gravelly voice.
Uh-huh.
This is it. Like,
that's what you want.
This is the voice.
Yeah.
We are all talking about. Every romance author, this is the voice we're talking about. This is the voice we mean. So just take his voice and put it in every romance book ever.
That's perfect. I love that.
Yeah, I would just say like rust on tin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the gravelly like romance hero voice is that's the best way to describe it.
He doesn't. Almost everything he says is a whisper. Like, I need you to understand this if you're listening and you have not seen this drama.
And yet he commands your attention.
He commands your attention with a whisper.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, oh my God, every single time he spoke, I was mesmerized. I love it. Love it so much.
So good. On a scale of 1 to 10, how scary are the gang names in this drama?
So dumb. And that's the thing. As soon as they announce the gang names, you're like, oh, that's the kind of drama it is. You know what I mean? Because it's like the bulldog gang and the kitty cat gang. And the one gang has a bulldog that they dress up in outfits. And the other gang has a cat that they just carry around. And I don't know if you guys saw, but so the kitty cat gang owns a restaurant. And at one point, the hero goes into the restaurant. And on the doors is printed, like it's meant to look like fancy and high class. And it's just printed meow on the doors. Like the level, like who in production decided that? I want to talk to them. Who's like, I know the detail that these doors need. They should say meow. Someone tell me who that was.
So not scary is what you're saying.
No. I mean, no. That's I love that.
I mean, this is not to say that it's all silliness, because it's not. I mean, there are some like brawls. There is some stabbing that happens, like
some stabbing.
Some shit goes down, you know, but for the most part, I'd say until the latter half of the drama, the gang stuff is pretty light and fluffy.
Yeah. And even the gang stuff that happens is not drawn out.
No.
It's just not. It's so quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, look, the whole thing is not, it fits here's the thing, is it fits the vibe though, in that like it knows it's silly.
Yeah.
And so for me, what worked in this drama is sometimes the drama knows it's silly, but we're going to talk about how there was a nice balance of like heart. So the parts that were silly to me felt, it didn't have like the frantic slapstick humor. I mean, it did, but it didn't feel like, it didn't hit for me like Cafe Minimdong did, for example, where I just felt like the whole time I was like, I'm exhausted. And
that was silly for silly's sake. Like it really was.
Felt silly for cute. Like you would see like the leader of like the kitty cat gang doing like how they would do like the social media, like click and follow for subscribers.
I loved those little interludes. When they'd have different people doing the click and follow. It was very cute.
Made it like
I loved it.
The Thirsty Deer Company. Like I don't know. It was it's like I felt like it was the cringe humor. It's like the cringe humor I write that people are like, oh my God, you're so cringe. And it's like, yes.
Yeah.
Adorably cringe. It's adorably cringe.
Adorably cringe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though everyone who works at Thirsty Deer is a reformed mobster, they all still dress in mobster aesthetic, which at first might have seemed silly, but later fits very well into things that happen on the back half of the drama. So we won't talk about that yet. But first, what was your initial reaction to the like dress in all black, like mobster chic look for all of our reformed mobsters?
I mean, I loved it because they kind of do a bait and switch, right? At the very beginning of the drama, they show this like warehouse full of like hanging bloody bodies. And we're meant to think it's like a warehouse for people they whacked or something, but it's like the pigs they are slaughtering for their meat company.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it because it felt tongue in cheek. And it also kind of like fit them. Like, you know, that's what they are. They're reform mobsters. They're still gonna wear their clothes. They're not going out and buying all new wardrobes. It's like, I don't know. It just it fit. And also, I think to a degree there was a bit of pride because the whole point of Thirsty Deer is that they're usually hiring like ex-cons. So I think there was a point of pride a little bit in like what they're doing and what they overcame to do what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, like I said, I was highly skeptical during the first episode in general of what was happening. And so what did I think? I didn't think a lot. I just kept looking for the cutie from Semantic Error.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a cutie little baby mobster.
I know. So, I mean, really, that was like what I was spending my whole time being like, where is he? I love him.
Mm.
And like, how young was he when he did Semantic Error? Because he's only like 21 or 22 now.
He was pretty young.
Jae-chan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's little baby mobster. Okay, so our heroine is Go Ha, known by her WeTube handle of Mini Oni, a woman who supplements her day job by working off hours for restaurants, handing out samples and menus. She seems to get the short end of the stick in her content creator job at Macaron Soft, always playing second fiddle to her competition, Kang Ye-na. Yet she never lets Ye-na get the best of her with all of her backhanded compliments. Did you find her to be a well-written heroine with good agency?
So to me, I wouldn't say she was a super standout heroine among K-drama heroines. To me, she was very much like a type of heroine that we see in K-dramas, but I liked that because she's definitely the capable type of K-drama heroines. She is the thoughtful type. She is sunshine and rainbows. Like she really is. Even when she's like upset about something, she often tries to see the good in things. She wants to cheer up people around her. I think she does everything she does with good intentions. But then I also didn't think she was like in any way blank. Like I thought that she had goals, and I also thought, you know, she did have agency. She made a lot of her own choices. I do think a lot of things happened to her, but there were many times she's the reason communication happened. Like she forced this mobster, who we'll talk about the fact that he's a 36-year-old virgin later as a reformed mobster ex-con. But she would force him to communicate often. And she did so much of her own accord with the like mobsters, and I love that about her. She's the type of heroine that you also kind of like want for the hero that you're falling in love with. Like I'm falling in love with Tae Goo or So Ji Won as I'm watching this, and I like want him to have this like amazing heroine, and she was
like just good and pure and sweet.
Oh, she was. Absolutely.
But not, like you said, not a water bottle.
No, and she would make mistakes, and she would fight and kick her feet and yell, but like with good cause. So I liked her. She wasn't like a doormat by any means.
Yeah, I thought she was delightful. I think she was one of my favorite heroines that I've like had in K-dramas, to be perfectly honest. Like I really it like took me by surprise how much I liked her, because in some ways her character was written to be like quite like she was like Snow White basically, with like the 7 dwarves like moving in with them. It was kind of the energy. And yet, and like there wasn't anything edgy with her, but there was just like it was just done so well. Like I just felt like she played it so well, and it just kind of like hit a perfect note to me energetically that I was like, yes, like she is the kids' film production, but it didn't feel. I mean, it was like sweet and like very like, but not sickly sweet to me. It just felt like, look, I'm gonna take this like political, and I did not know I was gonna do this as my metaphor, but like. There was a point in the summer where things felt like really dark. And I'm not going to pretend that like everything's hope and roses and perfect and like people are with like, I mean, politics are politics. The world is what it is. But I do feel much more like there's like a momentum now to hope and joy. And maybe like watching this hit me where like I started it kind of right at that moment of switch. And so I felt like I was ready for it. I was ready to be like, look, I just want to feel like a good person has gone through some shit that was uncalled for and is coming out like like I'm rooting for her. I'm not
gets to win. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not watching it being like, oh, it's just kind of cheesy. I was like, no, I'm here. Like I want it to be a little like this is hitting all the notes for me.
Yeah.
I agree. She was a little bit damsel in distress, but then when she gets rescued, like you said, Leah, like she gets taken in like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, when she gets rescued by Ji-won and his housemates, she doesn't just like bend to their will then. Like she changes things and we'll get to
takes
that.
over in a way.
Yeah, she changes things and she affects them like deeply. And I love that, while she does, like you said, Megan, have a lot of things happen to her, she also happens to them. And I liked how that worked out.
Yeah, I thought she was a really well-written character for this plot line. Like, and same, you're like I was always rooting for her all the way. I was behind her like 100%. Even when she kind of made like some mistakes, or I don't know about mistakes, but when she maybe made decisions I wouldn't make, I was still like, it's okay, it'll work out. Like, and I was still rooting for her though.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. That was our non-spoiler section. So from this point on, we will spoil My Sweet Mobster every chance we get. So if you haven't watched the drama and don't want to know how it all turns out, then take a quick 16-hour timeout and enjoy a good binge. If you're staying with us for the long haul, then let's get to it. I mentioned earlier, he falls first. Ji-won, even as the son of a mobster who never wanted to be a mobster, is tough and gritty, both in the boardroom and if he happens to get into an unintentional scrape. Everyone knows that you don't mess with Ji-won, but when Eun-ha, fearing for her own safety, kind of lets him fall down a flight of stairs, landing him in the hospital with a couple of broken ribs, how does he spend his time? Watching her videos on WeTube. So are you a fan of the he falls first trope, and did it work for you with Tae Goo's portrayal of Ji-won?
Yeah, I mean, I always love a he falls first. Like always. It's always going to be one of my favorites. And the way he just became enamored with her was really cute. And it seemed to fit his character. Like he's a loyal dude. And so kind of like the first woman who really caught his eye, he was like all in.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought. So, I mean, like, this was good for me in that, like, I don't know if I've given a lot of thought of like he falls first, she falls first. But in this, I loved him falling first. And I loved him like in the hospital room, like going through it and having like feelings and like, what are these feelings I'm having? Oh my God. Like that's when I was hooked. When all of a sudden it's like, my heart is fluttering, but I don't know what this is. Like, oh my God, yes.
He's having visions of her like in bubbles and stuff like that. And
yes.
Going around the room, popping these fake bubbles. And then she's actually at the door to like bring him like, get well food. And he almost like knocks her out.
But that's like the kind of silliness that had so much heart to it.
Yes.
Like, yes, those bubbles were silly, but it was him at like Leah loves, I know like Leah enough to know she loves especially heroes who are forced to feel things they haven't felt before and also don't know what those feelings are. Like that's Leah's catnip. So I did think she would like that, but
it was very well done. I loved it.
Yeah. Eun-ha has a very public job being a content creator. She has to deal with scandal and internet trolls. Ji-hwan and his thirsty dear brothers are trying to make a name for their brand, but also facing public backlash because everyone sees them as mobsters and ex-cons, even if they've clearly changed their ways. So thoughts on how the drama mirrors treatment of public figures online and in the real world?
I think so, like, speaking from like very small, like personal experience, because I think we've all dealt with this as writers. Like, especially in the early days of writing, when I thought that like I needed to read every review and I needed to know everything everybody was saying about my books. And people would tag me in reviews and they would not be nice. So, like trolling my book on social media and stuff like that. And that was something really big to get used to, that like people will say things to you because they don't really feel like they're saying it to you, kind of thing. And I think we see this even on a bigger level with people who are celebrities, that lots of stuff being said online that you would never say to somebody's face, which was what was happening in the drama. Is there's, something that's caught on video that makes it look like the Thirsty Deer guys were starting a brawl at, like this food tasting festival, when in actuality it was somebody else who was, starting things up with them. And then it just went on this, they just got trolled like big time on WeTube, which was, like YouTube. So I think it's unfortunately a very, prominent thing in any public figure's existence.
Yeah, I think that, I have a lot to say about that this week, and I'm not going to get into like a whole thesis on it right here. We are recording this right now, August 14th. I am a BTS fan. I would call myself ARMY, and we've seen that there has been like, what are you gonna, a fucking shit show over one of the members, Suga. Yes, he is my bias. Yes, he was under the influence, and he rode a, look, I can't even get into, like, if you need to look it up, look it up. It's a lot. And what is interesting is the judgment that came out, like the judgment and then like the lying and the misreporting and the conjecture just kind of like blew what is ultimately, because like the CCTV footage at this point has been released, is kind of like a dummy, like an embarrassing mistake. Like, it's not perfect. Like, it's not like it's embarrassing. Nobody wants to be seen on a
grandpa scooter
drunk going 0.3 miles and falling off. Like, it's not a great, like, yeah. But, at the end of the day, like, truly, we've all made a mistake at that caliber. We're not famous, but like it's disgusting. Honestly, it was just so unsavory. And it's really just, it bothered me a lot, mostly just because we've seen we're so much poorer for bad journalism, and seeing how we've just like been rushing to the bottom here in this country as well. And so we just have so much mistrust, and it really allows, because journalism's meant to be a spotlight and to show when truth occurs. And so when we see that misrepresented, like we just know how like all the dark, insidious forces that are at play in government, in companies, everything can flourish when we have our media fail us. And so I just find it to be just like a mirroring of like, just like an overall existential problem that we have. And then just like the dopamine hit pile-on culture that we personally have in this world with social media, where it just can feel so easy and good to like, in a dehumanized environment, to like pop off at someone. And I know to varying degrees, like, being authors, we've all experienced varying degrees of this online ourselves, even personally. And even today as we speak, like my hockey book has been put as like a read now on NetGalley. And that means that anyone can like get a copy of it. And so there's already like some hockey fans who are like, oh my God, I got access. I can't wait to like hate read this book, essentially, like live tweet my hate of it. And like, you know what? Like, I honestly will say that like, maybe I'm proud of myself. Like, it doesn't feel good. Like I'm sure it has an effect, but it also feels like this is your one wild life, my friends.
and that's how you choose. And that's how you choose to spend it. Yeah.
Of course, I'm happy to be like getting on my high horse about like Godfather, But it's not like if somebody, like if a stranger on the internet like was said something, I don't think I would spend a lot of time like blood, sweat, and tearing. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like, yes, this is our one wild life. Like, we don't need to do this. And even in my work, sometimes I'll see like people will like, right now in my job, there's something that's happening where I know an announcement's forthcoming that is going to, it's just a whatever announcement. It's not a bad announcement. But there's people like speculating on like what this thing is that's going to be rolling out is. And I'm watching like outlandish, and people are like working themselves up. Like, I'm seeing chat forums where people are like sweating, being like, oh my gosh, the admin at this university. And I'm not like, I mean, I guess I'm admin, I'm staff. Like, they're going to do these things that are reprehensible. And everyone's like, yes, yes. And I'm like, honestly, everything you're saying isn't true. And it's going to be like shown not to be true tomorrow. And like, if you just took like a drink of water and just wait. And I mean, like, I'm not poo-pooing activism. Like, activism's important, and we have to push against systems. We have to push against things. But this is different than activism. I'm saying like when you're riled up without actual cause yet.
Mm-hmm.
When a harm has been done, I think you can rile up. So I'm on a soapbox on this issue at this point over Thirsty Deer and the Priesters. But to me, that I think this is what made this drama land for me really well, was like once we got into that, I'm finding this to be a very rich territory of what the fuckery of humanity. And so I really like connected in with it.
Yeah, I mean, I will just say, yeah. And I think that's the thing. The drama starts out with these like silly kind of scenes. And then all of a sudden you're thrust into a drama that feels timely and feels real. These characters are dealing with real things. They're dealing with misinformation about them coming out in the media and the backlash, and then having to right those wrongs as best as they can, which of course it's a drama. So the wrongs get righted well. Like, it's in the real world, misinformation,
nothing happens. Like it just spreads and then it's over. And then like you can't change it.
Yeah. And when you try to change it, those tentacles don't always go in the same direction. Like, you're not always fixing. And sometimes though, I want to watch something where it gets fixed. Like, that's the dopamine for me, where I get to watch this drama where the person you're rooting for wins, the couple that you want to see together is together, and that people who were like wronged in the face of the public, like to the public, their wrongs are righted, and everyone sees them for who they truly are and not a misrepresentation.
Yes. Like
give that to me.
There's bad people out there. There's bad things out there. But for the most part, humans are just kind of like multifaceted and messy. And so again.
Yep.
And even those we put on pedestals still get to be human.
Yeah. And we can sit in discomfort. Like, not everything has to be nice and not everything has to be kind. But this like rush of dehumanization, I think is. Yeah, once we move into black and white, I'm just not such a binary thinker. And I think binary thinking is often, I mean, like, yes, I guess I keep correcting myself to be like, yes, of course. Like, when it comes to certain things, deeply fucked. Like, without a doubt, there is a good and a bad here. But when we're talking about kind of like humans living their lives on the internet in a messy way, not like government systems, not like wars against civilian, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting into more of like the gray area of like where we have like this influencer with bad milk. Like, I'm talking more like on that side of things. That's where I feel like it's.
Why are we wasting our energy on it? Like, that's.
But there's something we are like, we can say why, because we do. Like, we'll just be like, why do we?
No, but I mean, like the people who are piling on and trolling it. That's what I mean. Like, why are they wasting their energy on it? Like, I don't think we're wasting our energy talking about it.
Oh no, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say, sorry, is that like. The why is a very interesting, like, I think it's interesting. Like, I don't want to ask the why as like a dismissive, like, why is it? Because it's fascinating to me why we have this like kind of garbage toxic culture. And I think that is why sometimes, especially when we've seen with like high profile celebrities, and I'm going to even just skip over BTS and go back to kind of how we saw like Lee Sung Kyung or like like there's other folks who have like recently been kind of very separate different cases in those situations, but where we don't really have facts. And then like what is interesting to me, and again, I'm not calling out South Korean tabloid journalism as like something only unique to South Korea. Like we have garbage tabloid journalism here. The UK has garbage. Like tabloid journalism is garbage everywhere, you know? But one thing that is interesting to me that kind of like strikes me as a curiosity is when we allow the comments section to be part of like the narrative of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because to me, the comment section is like the thing you should always be skipping in everything. Like the comment sections where nothing good happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see like, when it's like citizen fruit picker 241 had this to say, and it's like being reported as like part of the discourse. I'm like, but no, like that's the bad part. Like that's the part where I'm meant to like, just like pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought the show handled that interestingly and well, and I am a fan, and I would like to see more of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so this drama is a romance, yes, but a lot of the story centers on the found family that Ji-won and Eun-ha have with everyone in the house, as neither of them have a good relationship with their blood relatives. Eun-ha's parents divorced and basically like stopped being parents, I guess, while Ji-won's father is a ruthless mobster who, when he found Ji-won was hidden away by his mother under another name, took him back and basically beat him into submission and forced him into mob life, which is why Ji-won eventually ratted him out and got him sent to prison for 10 years. So we like everybody who is close in this drama is close because they have found family. We've talked about found family before. Are you a fan of it? And did you love the Thirsty Deer family?
I mean, found family is always one of my favorites, and I love a good like group of motley men, like always. I like to that's the one thing about Lawless Lawyer is he kind of had this like madcap group of men, but most of them weren't really distinguishable. So one thing I super loved about this drama is they all had their own personalities. They didn't all necessarily have their all like goal, motivation and conflict, but a lot of them did. And at least you still got to know their personalities individually, which I really appreciated. And one thing, you didn't ask this directly, but it made me think of it when you said how his father like beat him into submission or whatever. I did find it interesting, the narrative choice when Ji-won is confessing his past to Eun-ha, and he actually says at one point, I needed the money, so it was my decision to go back to my father. Meaning they did it, and he said, so everything I did, I'm taking responsibility for. And I thought that was really interesting that they chose to do that they didn't make him seem like, well, I was a mobster, but it's not my fault.
Right. Yeah. Like he did what he did and he owned up to it no matter what the reason behind it was.
Right. I mean, he had shitty reasons behind it.
They do show it. Like he beats him and basically is like, you can walk out of here. You can walk out of here if you'll fight your way out. And he's like,
yeah,
fuck that.
He's never given a good shot, but he does say to her, you know, I went into it knowingly. Like I could have, I needed the money and that's why I did it. And I could, at the time I had, I felt like I had no option, but he's like, it was my decision. And I just really did like that too, that they didn't try to wash away because he was a mobster. I mean,
he didn't make excuses. Yeah. He didn't make excuses for anything he did.
He had to like chase down people who had debts to the mob. I mean, they kind of alluded to that was something he did. So he wasn't necessarily the best guy. And I just really loved that they decided to have him take responsibility for that and not just be like, my daddy made me do it. I liked it. Oh, and that the heroine wasn't like, I remember her answer was something like, as long as you're not trying to seek forgiveness for what you did, because I can't give you forgiveness, but I'll be with you to help you become a better person. I just loved that entire dialogue's conversation between them.
And she says, like something along the lines of like, that's who you were then, but the Ji-won that I know now is a good man.
Yeah.
And
It was just, I actually, despite the lead being, again, a mobster who doesn't know what his feelings are, the communication in this drama between the leads was very good.
So I brought up in the non-spoiler section how in the first half of the drama, our former mobsters like still dressed in the all black mobster aesthetic. But as Eun-ha infiltrates their inner circle and forms basically like the missing link in their little family, Seo Ji-won and his housemates have a change of aesthetic. What are your thoughts on how the drama used color to illustrate this shift? Color and hairstyle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the color down in the cardigans. And like, so this is the thing. I almost didn't realize the shift. Like, I saw it, but I don't think I realized about the introduction of color until you mentioned it. So why don't you, Amy? So why don't you tell me, like, I guess you're in it.
Well, I feel like it really started happening. It started happening slowly after she moved in. Like when they'd be just hanging around the house, they weren't always in black, right? Like he'd wear a suit of like a different color, like a more muted color. And then it got to the freaking like green cardigan.
Yeah, cardigans.
Like Mr. Rogers level cardigans.
Yes.
Like my God, this
with
man
the hair down.
and his hair down and floppy. And I just like, I loved it. I loved that it was subtle. Because like you said, you didn't notice it right off the bat. It was very subtle. Like it just started happening to the point where at the end, he's wearing a pink tuxedo. Like,
yeah,
give me a fucking break.
The children's content creator brought color back into his life. I mean, maybe we could do a whole thing too about how she was giving him the childhood he never had because he got to like watch her like videos and he felt like comfort and love from them. I don't know.
He fell for her as Mini Uni.
Mini Uni. I loved her name. I just loved it.
Yes. I loved it too. I loved the umbrella. I loved and I loved her outfits. Like I would never dress like that, obviously, with my art therapist aesthetic, but I liked it. It was very like wholesome and adorable.
It was very wholesome.
Yeah.
But like, again, it just like it worked. I can't like understate how much it all worked for me so well.
Yeah, it wasn't like they didn't dress her frumpy. They just dressed her like sweet and cute. Like it was always baggy jeans and sneakers and a cute top.
Yeah, someone mentioned that I think in Patreon that they really liked her clothes because they dressed her how you kind of would expect her to dress. Like,
yeah,
it felt youthful. She wasn't in like tweed blazers. Okay, no. First of all, she wasn't making that much money, so they dressed her how I think I think her character would dress. You're right, in like Converse, baggy jeans and like a t-shirt, and she looked adorable and it totally fit her character.
Yeah, I really liked it.
She spent all her money on props for her videos.
for the short time. Well, I mean, like for a lot of the drama, she's like out of work, and I'm like, how are you going and like doing all your errands, girl? Like,
I know. How are you paying for your
She was
phone?
still like passing out samples and at restaurants and stuff like that. So she had something coming in.
What did she dress up as? It wasn't a pickle, was it? Was it a hot dog? She dressed up.
In the beginning when
she was like a mascot. That was one of her like side jobs. She dressed up.
I feel like it was a pickle. It was something like that.
It was something like oblong.
Yeah. Where her face was covered and he couldn't see her. Okay, so as luck would have it, Eun-ha is looking for the Hyun-woo of her childhood, and a local prosecutor played by Kwon Yul, who is looking into an incident involving Seo Ji-won, happens to be named Hyun-woo and also seems to be romantically interested in a witness he calls in for questioning, Eun-ha. So this is like a 3-part question. Answer them all. Answer 1, whatever you want. But 1, did you like the introduction of a love triangle? 2, did you at any point think that prosecutor Hyun-woo was the Hyun-woo? And 3, is he a second male lead worthy of an SOS?
It was an okay love triangle to me. I mean, it fit in, like, for me, the pacing of it. Like, I got why he existed and why he was there. I was never like, oh boy, who should be? I mean, he was not, how can I say this? I'm not sure he was. I don't know if the choice was like a very kind of like Um Tae Goo's a hard one to come up against.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who are you gonna like? Kim Soo Hyun might have been like a choice. I don't know budget, but it's just like you're gonna have to put in like top dog A-list if you really want people being like, I'm torn here. It was fine, but I just was like, it was kind of like a little bit of a side filler, a little bit. It helped. Basically, I felt like his role was less to be like, oh my gosh, will it they or won't they? Because never were they. And no, I didn't think. I mean, from the beginning, I think it's pretty clear what the big twist is to come. But I think what he did usefully in the plot was kind of round out stories without having like exposition. Because like as he's trying to unpack things or ask questions or poke around, that kind of allows the black, or like, how he first saw Um Tae Goo and there was like, ooh, is he a baddie? Because we saw some baddiness with the baseball bats and stuff. Like it just kind of helped the story breathe in like a little bit more of an organic way. So I thought like that was kind of his function, was to kind of allow for exposition without it being like overt. But I would not write him an SOS. I mean, I know hate. I was just like, meh, you're fine. You're a plot device.
I actually did think he was the Hyunwoo. I did for a little bit. Okay. Because I thought that the choice was going to be between her childhood, like love. Not that I thought the love triangle was going to be a main part, but I really did think she was going to kind of have to choose a little. And that, like, I don't know. I actually did think that. I
did for a hot minute too. I
didn't want it to be.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did. It seemed convincing because he was so into her, and I was like, maybe.
We'll finish what you're going to say, then I'll explain why I thought it too.
Okay, so I did.
I'm like the one who gets the twist. Usually it's Amy's got it. I was like, oh no,
I know
he's a red.
I didn't hang on to it for long. I didn't.
No, me either. I figured it out pretty quickly, but I would say for maybe half an episode or so there, I did think he was the Hyunwoo. He grew on me for sure. At first, I was like, I don't know, but Amy and I talked about how he's treated very similar to how the second male lead is treated in My Lovely Liar, which I loved the second male lead in My Lovely Liar. I wrote an SOS for him. Just very similar. It's like the guy who is still a good guy. He's still going to do what's right.
Even though he doesn't get the girl.
And he's going to be happy for her because she's happy. And he's still going to support her from afar. So I did. I liked, and he was honest with her. That's the thing. He didn't lie to her, which I also really loved. He never said, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy you're looking for,"
and he could have.
And she
knew that it was. Yeah,
and because she wanted it, I think, to be him, because she just wanted to find this man. Yeah. And so, yeah, I like him. I don't know. We'll see how the year goes. If someone else pops into my second male lead spot and wants an SOS, but I did really like him.
I did too. And like the reason why I thought it was him at first was that first like passing when they crossed the street and he's just looking at her, and they made it seem like he knew her from somewhere.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And it was just
captured by her.
He was just captured by her. But I did like the framing of that, where that's where he sees her at the end of the drama too, is crossing the street and you see him staring at her and you know that he still is in love with her, but that he's happy for her as well. There were two instances of that I thought were treated really well. And it was one when he went to the hospital after Ji-won is stabbed at the end, and he went to the hospital while Ji-won's still in his coma, and he sees Eunha crying with Miho, with her friend, and sees them in the hallway and she's crying. And he's like, you know what, I'm not going to disturb this. Yeah. And they go back into the room and he leaves like his little get well bag outside the door and kind of looks in. And then when he walks away, he has like this half smile, which is like, that's him being like, I need to let go now kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then we also have at the end where his, cute little bespectacled office worker who very clearly has a crush on him, asks if he's over her, like, why is he still watching her videos? And he's like, well, I want to support her, and then that's when he leaves and he sees her crossing the street and she's running to go see Ji-won, and he's like, and that's that. So yeah, I thought it was treated really well. I liked that he was very anti G1 in the beginning, and then we had that scene where he's at the house with all of them and sitting at the table, and he's like, I was wrong. Like he's like, at first I didn't want her to have anything to do with him, and now I realize that I was wrong about all of you. And I thought that was really, really well done. Was he a little boring? Yeah. Like,
yeah.
His character, not the actor by any means.
No,
like Kwan Yeol was great.
No, but I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I would not. I'm not looking to.
No, but I wasn't like sad for him or anything at the end. You know what I mean? Like,
he's fine.
Can I just say though that the things he did, a prosecutor would not do.
Well, what was he always working on? Like, I don't even understand. Like,
I don't know. And also, he would not be showing up with the police places. Like, I was like, this is not. What is this? What is happening? This is not a prosecutor's job. Buddy, stay in your office. Like, what is happening? That was the only thing is I was like, this is.
But he was also like, he's investigating and he's not actually working on a case.
He's just investigating. There's no charges. He's like a detective. Like, just make him a detective for God's sake.
He was not, there was no prosecuting. There was no prosecuting happening.
No. Oh, I love it.
Okay. Let's talk about sex, baby. So we have a couple of other like second leads. We have Eunha's bestie, Kumi Ho, played by Moon Jin, and Ji-won's babyface lawyer, Ju Il-young, played by Kim Hyun-jin. What are your thoughts on Miho and Il-young having a pretty sexy one-night stand that ends in baby? While we writhe in our seats waiting for Eunha and Ji-won to kiss. Were you disappointed that we only got implied sex from our leads, or does Ji-won's pink tuxedo proposal at the end make up for it?
I don't know if I wanted to see like raw dogging with them.
No, not like raw dogging.
No, but we're saying like I'm good. Like in this case,
I wanted to see a grown-up kiss. I will say that. I wanted to see like a grown-up, like Miho and Il-young had like real kisses. And
yeah, I mean, they were a hot couple.
They were a hot couple.
I was actually very invested in them.
I liked them a lot.
Me too. I was that was the one second couple where I really loved their scenes. Like I wasn't trying to fast forward.
Ever. I wanted every time they were on, I was like, let's pause.
Yeah.
Adorable. Let's have more.
The height difference was just a lot.
Oh my gosh. What is it with these tall men? I freaking love it.
I like both. I like a fun size too, but there's something nice with I don't know. Anyway, I like them. I don't know. Even like I don't know if I could have handled him just like face eating her, like with like a lot of, like there was something, maybe it was her like role as like there was something like, not that I'm not trying to infantilize her. She's not like a child or childlike. I just don't know if I like, it'd be kind of like what, I don't know why I'm trying to make this my analogy. Be kind of like watching I don't want to watch my parents make out. Like I didn't really need to see them make out. Like I was like, I get it happens.
He's a 36-year-old mobster virgin. So like he didn't know what he was doing. I remember there was one
fucking 36-year-old mobster virgin. Just shoot me with that.
I know.
That's what I should have been sold on. Yeah. That is what I should have been sold on.
Well, I didn't know until
I know, but I'm saying like that is like
because they actually address it. They're like, he's a virgin.
Money.
Yeah, like they address it. And so I will admit, I loved when he got like possessive. When he was like, I don't want you looking at any other guy but me. And he kind of like spins her around. And I will say in front of the house, there was a moment where he like grabs her face and kisses her. And to me, like that was enough for me. I was like that, and remember when the waiter flirted with her? And he took her chair and like wrenched it closer to him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like honestly, those moments were good for me. Like I didn't need the kiss because I had those moments. I don't know why that fit the same bill in my heart. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why, or that filled the same hole in my heart that I needed, but it did. His possessive moments of her in a non-toxic way were like all I needed.
I don't know. I I wanted a little bit more. I did not need like on-screen sex or anything like that.
You didn't need face eating.
No, I just wanted a grown-up kiss. I mean, like, I guess I was expecting it because like Miho and Il Young, like, it was like, bam. Like, we met, we fucked. Like,
I know, my God. I was like,
I would too. I would too.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, he's not a virgin. Like, how did that happen? Like,
I know. And he's like this like sweet little baby face boy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was expecting that we were going to work our way up to something a little bit more grown up. It was all very chaste and I didn't hate it by any means, but I would have been here for a grown-up kiss.
I did like the implied sex though, when he was like,
when he said like, I want you to stay. Yeah.
And we knew what, like, it was very implied. We knew what was happening. And I was like, good for you. And then their like awkwardness the next morning was too much for me. I loved when he would stare at her as if no one else was in the room.
Yep. Like when they're all at the table and like everybody's like talking over each other and he's just smiling and looking at her.
Or when he knows she's mad at him and he won't look away from her because he's just like, he like cannot handle that she's mad at him. Like he's like, he has to fix it. He just does, I just loved it so much.
And his self-torture is like willingness to brood. Like there was like the Batman element of like always watching and brooding. Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Love it.
I know.
So I did mention that there's a stabbing. So there's actually, he gets stabbed twice. He gets stabbed in, that like hotel brawl thing in the past and then at the end. But here's what I thought was interesting. We know that he has this like bad relationship with his father, right? Like Jiwon's father's released from prison. And of course he wants his son back in the Bulldog gang because like reluctant mobster or not, he was good at it. Unlike Go Yang Hee, played by Im Chul Soo, who seems to always mess things up. And he tries to force Jiwon to come back to the Bulldog gang by beating him into submission again and by torturing like one of his thirsty deer brothers, Jae-soo. But when it came down to it, like in the final moments when Yang Hee came to try and kill Jiwon's father and he's coming at him with a knife, Jiwon freaking protects him using his own body as a shield. Like what is this man? Basically is what I want to ask. Like
it was such a good narrative choice.
Yeah.
So good because it solves the conflict in so many ways. Because the conflict is the father is never going to let him go. And the father is going to use Unha basically to get to Jiwon. So he's going to hurt Unha or something. He's going to threaten her. So everything's reaching a boiling point where something has to give and you don't know how it's going to give. And I love that this was the choice, that the choice wasn't Jiwon saying like, I'm going to leave you forever. The choice was him making this sacrifice and that basically alleviates the conflict. And it wasn't a deus ex machina. It wasn't. It was
Deus ex.
Deus? What I say deuce? Deuce. Why do I always say things?
But you're right. It was a real
anyway.
Like
it was a choice.
Because then his father was like devastated that his son.
Yeah, his father's like, "For you're done. You're done. You don't owe anything more to me. You don't have to be in a gang." I mean, his dad was in prison then.
But you saw like when he was when Hyun Woo had him like in the interrogation room, his father would not speak until somebody came in and said that Jiwon woke up from his coma.
Right. It was just such a good ending. Like it was so good because you didn't have this like, you kind of had some like third act tension between the leads because, things were happening. There were scary times, but you didn't have this like massive separation.
No.
Or this big third act breakup. Like I'm doing this to save you. Like I said, there was like some tension, some little things, but there was nothing major. It was all like very external and them trying to like fight through it, which I always gonna love. They felt like a team towards the end they were just like supporting each other. I mean, I very rarely do dramas like this like hold up for me at the end. And this drama for me just got better with every episode. I actually could not believe it. Like I was really shocked. I was like, because the drama's going along and I'm like, they're going to fuck up the ending. They're going to fuck up the ending. I know they're going to fuck up the ending. And then when the ending held up, I was like, holy shit, this was great.
Yeah. The second half writing was really good.
Fantastic, truly. And that's when the silliness kind of cuts out and all the heart comes in.
Mm.
But I mean, they set it up so well in the beginning.
Favorite romantic moment?
When I didn't think any of you or either of you were going to watch this, I like had posted about this moment in Slack. I'll never be over when they're stuck in the freezer together.
Ugh.
And I'll never be over this. And he said he watched a documentary about penguins and he's like, and they're freezing. And I love how he wasn't just like, we need to heat each other up with, you know, our like body heat. Like we need to get close. No, because he doesn't know how to communicate properly. So he has to like rely on some documentary he watched. And he's like, I watched a documentary with penguins and they huddle to stay warm. And then he circles his arms around her and and then with that gravelly whispered voice in her ear, he's like, just pretend I'm a penguin.
God,
So
damn.
good.
I was screaming because
So
it
good.
felt absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Just pretend I'm a penguin. It felt, but then it also felt so true to his character. It like that is something that I could see he would do because he doesn't know how to just say, "Hey, let's hug." He has to say, "Pretend I'm a penguin." I just loved it,
And I love how that metaphor just like continues for the rest of the drama of him being a penguin.
Romantic because then when they finally open up the doors of the freezer, you know, he had that dramatic moment where he like carries her out and she's like limp in his arms. Oh God, I love it.
I mean, I have a hard time saying favorite, so I'm just gonna say that, like, I don't know. This is not a great answer, but it's a truthful answer, which is just because it's not everything, because that's like too pat. But I'm trying to say that, like, what I liked about it was the fact that I felt as if, because there was a really odd mix of like high key. It was almost like he didn't know he was. I'm gotta say it, like he didn't know he was horny, and yet he was like so horny. And I don't know how to say that is like so the whole thing is like it's not G-rated because I feel like he is like ready to just like he just doesn't know it's
when they're watching TV and they're trying to like just when they're alone in the house and everything they put on is a sex scene.
Yeah, and then they cook and they keep like doing sexy moves at each other. And it's like it felt like it was silly, but it was also just like so fun.
And he's so like hungry for it, but like isn't like there's like here's the thing. I just got it. It's that he is so like desirous of her without any ick.
Right.
There's like zero ick to it. And she kind of has all the power, even though he's like the mobster boss. Like in the dynamic, he falls first. She is all like basically as the aliens in Megan's books. She is all.
She has the absolute upper hand.
Yeah,
100%, and kind of like doesn't use it like badly.
No,
like it's not to she just does.
She uses it to make him a better person. To be honest,
yes, that's even a better point. Yeah, she uses it. She uses it for his own good to make him even hotter and more of a green flag. This movie was green flag, or this show is green flag angst. Tortured hero marshmallow porn.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the title of the episode.
The moment that I love, which I mean, it's romantic, but it's also it's the most emotional moment for me in the drama, which I love when the romance makes me cry. And it's when she finally knows that he is the Hyunwoo of her childhood, and she comes back to him and is crying and is like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. Oh my God. And then he just hugs her. Like, he's not upset with her for not knowing, and she's not upset with him for not telling her, because she understands why he, like, he's like, I'm not that boy, and I was afraid you'd be disappointed. And she just keeps crying, and she's like, I should have recognized you. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I fucking love it.
And the fact that when he hugs her, he always cradles the back of her head in his palms and like holds her to him.
Yes.
Oh, like who told him? Like, I want to know if someone directed him to do that, or if that was like
that's just his choice. I think it's his choice.
That also is huge to me. Yeah. I don't know. There's something about the cupping of the back of the head.
Yep. It's like he's so tender and intimate.
And he's like enveloping her in his embrace.
Okay. Favorite comedic moment to get us out of the feels.
So I would actually say it's when he is chasing her down when she's in that costume. It was so silly, but yet I loved it because it was so ridiculous. It was very cartoony. And I actually, when he's running, he like they have this like zoom in on his face, and he's like smoothing back his hair and making faces. And I actually saw behind the scenes where he's doing that in the face of the camera. And I just keep thinking how awkward that would be. But he did it. Like he totally went for it and made all the faces and did all the weird stuff. Just him alone. Yeah. He totally committed to it.
So my favorite one is actually still a romantic one, but it's a funny romantic one. So they admit their feelings for each other when they're on like the little like weekend getaway, and like everything changes from there. Like they can't like stay away from each other like in the house, and they're always making like, you know, googly eyes. But it's when they're sitting alone together, and they're like, she's like out egging herself. Like she's like, should I do this? Should I do this? And keeps making these like super cutesy faces, and he is like that shy smile and like turning away, but then he'll do one, and I'm like, this is like ridiculous and adorable, and I loved it so much, and so funny, but also so cute.
I'm gonna say for me, I want to go with like when I realized I was really gonna like this drama way more than I expected to. So I'm gonna say like my pivot moment.
Yeah,
it was when he started watching her shows in the hospital bed with like his like little juice boxes.
Yes.
And the fact that like he was like tapping, like it was the beginning of that tap in where he was like, his little heart was starting to like crack and grow. And I was just like, holy shit. I don't know what to do. He's watching her, and like, and the second male lead was too, but I was like, yeah. And like, and just realizing like, again, like something that gets me is like when kids don't have the right to their own happiness as a child. And so you also see, so not only it wasn't like he was just watching it, liking her, he was like getting like some sort of healing and nurturing from the content.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I think this drama might like emotionally fuck me up. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I also just want to mention I think I said this on Instagram after I watched it. They confess their feelings fairly early for a K-drama. And there's so much fun and games beat, which we talked about before, where like things are happy. Like before the big climax, they're so happy. So much ooey gooey romance time. So much like the thing I love is there's so much time for them to like work out little kinks in the relationship. So they're like working out communication issues. They're working out little things in the broader scheme of like the external conflict that also make me believe in the romance more. Believe in the romance that they're gonna believe that they're gonna last. It was just so freaking well done. One of the best.
Like so good. Like like he tries to push her away when he knows that like they're coming for him and they're going to use her against him. And he tries to push her away. And I love that she comes at him and is like, the only thing that I'm afraid of is not being able to be by your side.
Yeah. She basically doesn't let him. But I mean, that's the thing. She communicates. Yeah. She knows. She's smart. She figures out what's happening. Like she isn't like an oblivious heroine.
No. Oh, it was so good. Like, thank you for suggesting it.
I'm so glad. Well, thank you to all the listeners who talked to us about this, because that was one of the reasons I paid attention. I often like, I want to know what you guys are watching, like you listeners, because if you really like something, and then I'll probably dig into it.
And it always makes me a little bit extra happy when we all three kind of come together and like a drama.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Since we all liked one too.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, to me, I'm going to put this in the top 2 of the year so far, which is a shock to me.
Absolutely, when it comes to like a romance. Oh my God. Yeah.
I think it's coming. I think it's definitely hitting my top 25. But I've got to do my ranking again. But look, I'm just saying this is going to land. This landed so high for me in what I expected.
I think I said this to you guys, but if I would have watched this earlier in like my K-drama watching era, I think it would have been in like my top 10. Because I think I think now there's just too many shows that I won't knock out. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, totally.
But
would you put it in your top 25?
Yes, I would. I'd have to knock something out. I don't know what I would knock out. But
I know, same.
But I would, because it's that good. It's that
like
good of a romance.
Something out too.
Yeah. Thank you, Tae Goo, for your service. Thank you for your service.
Oh my gosh.
That voice, you do a good impression.
Thank you.
You just turned me on.
He's always like,
I'm hot for it. Even the impressions, like I get a tingle.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for listening, everybody.
Why are you letting them throw milk at you?
God damn it.
Till next time.
Phone sex me.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Ready? Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!